Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is to make our oil and garlic mixture. So I'm just pouring some olive oil here, and then I'm adding the garlic. I'm using about one big garlic, so you can have more if you want the strong garlic flavor. About two cloves of garlic is a good amount. And then I have here salt, I have black pepper, Italian seasoning, and then rosemary. You can also use other seasoning that you like. You can even add some cayenne pepper or paprika if you want it a little bit hot. But I like this blend. So we don't actually want to toast the garlic. We just want to infuse the oil with the garlic and the herbs flavor, but we don't want it toasted. So we'll just leave this for maybe, say, 3 minutes in medium-low heat. Make sure that your pan is not too hot, otherwise the garlic will burn, and you don't want it to burn because we're going to use this to mix with the bread, and also to brush the top of the focaccia bread once it's done baking. Okay, after 1 hour of letting the dough rest, this is now how it looks like. So it almost double in size, and there's a lot of bubbles underneath. It's like really airy, and we don't want to deflate that. So what we're gonna do next is we're going to transfer it in a pan. You can use a square pan, you can use a rectangle pan. I am using my cast iron pan here because cast iron pan retains heat, so it gives a nice crusty uh, base for the bread. And then I'm brushing it with the remaining infused olive oil that I made earlier. Just brushing the bottom of the pan. So this oil, this is just a combination of olive oil, some rosemary, some pepper, like black pepper or cayenne pepper or paprika, you can use that, and some, of course, salt and minced garlic. So this will give a nice flavor, and also like browning and crunchy base. So we want to have that kind of saltiness in the focaccia bread. So I'm just sprinkling some coarse salt at the bottom as well. Okay, and then we're ready to just transfer the dough. here. And then just use your hand to spread the dough around the pan. So we don't want to knead it anymore. Some recipe need it. It's okay, but I want to use the dough just straight out from the resting period so that it still have the bubbles and the airiness and the softness. And then we're gonna brush the top with the, again, we have more remaining of those infused oil and garlic. And then we're going to rest this for another 30 minutes. And then you can add any toppings that you like. You can add some olives, some sun-dried tomatoes, or more fresh rosemary on top, or fresh tomatoes. I like to use olive or Kalamata olive and some fresh herbs or sun-dried tomatoes. You can even add some cheese, but we're gonna leave it like this, and then we're gonna let it rest for another 30 minutes. So we just want to cover it and then let it rest in a warm place. Okay, so I've let this rest for another 45 minutes. So this is how it looks like. So it almost double in size. It's fluffy. So this is a good sign because that means to say that you're going to have a thick, airy, and soft bread. So I still have some remaining olive oil, infused olive oil here, and I'm gonna use it to top the bread because we don't want to waste anything. If you don't have any left over, so that's fine. It just so happened that I did not use up everything, and there's a lot of rosemary here, which is going to give really nice flavor. So now we can add toppings. So for that one, you have an option to add almost any topping that you like, but like I am going to add, oh sorry, before we do that, we have to do the traditional, poke a hole in top of the bread. Use your fingers and just lightly press it like this. Lightly, do not overdo it because you don't want to deflate the bread, right? Okay, there you go. And then now we can add our toppings. So I'm just adding some whole Kalamata olives. You can also add some sun-dried tomatoes or some cheese. If you're going to add cheese, I would recommend use something that's not like the melting type of cheese, like something with a strong flavor. I like to use Asiago cheese, or maybe some Parmesan cheese will be nice too, but I try to avoid using mozzarella cheese because the bread becomes too wet and soft, and we want it to be like crusty and crunchy. There you go. Okay, so this is now our focaccia bread. It's fresh out from the oven and it's still hot. And if you can, if you see, like when I push it down, it's still like bouncy and soft. So that's a good sign, which means to say we have a kind of like an airy light bread. It's not going to be dense. So you want to wait it for it to cool down a little bit before you cut it, because as the dough rests, the remaining heat from the pan will still continue to cook the bread, which will give it a really nice texture. Otherwise, if you slice it now, it's still gonna be a little bit wet and gamey. So just let it rest for maybe 15 minutes and until it's just warm but not hot. So just to show you, you see how it lifts easily even without, it doesn't stick to the pan anymore. And the bottom, I'm just gonna turn it around so that you can see it. You see how brown it is, and you can see all the holes there. That's a good sign. It's nice and crusty, and at the same time it's airy and soft. So let it cool down, and then after that we're gonna slice it.